How's it going, folks? My name is Seymour. I am the host of Warriors Junior Hockey, the podcast, and I do these videos now, one video a week, like one podcast a week, one video a week for the channel Warriors Pro Wrestling, because in addition to hockey and junior hockey, I am a huge wrestling fan and a baseball fan, as you'll notice behind us. Toronto Blue Jay logo, Toronto Blue Jay poster. Couldn't remember the word poster. Good for me. Man, this is gonna go well. Anyway, just forget there's a Toronto Blue Jay poster in the background. Trademark MLB. I think I'm legally supposed to say trademark. Oh my God! Did I just? Sorry for showing off my armpits on a live camera. Oh my God! Well, not live. Anyway, I'm going to get on with it now, because if you haven't tuned out yet, you're really thinking about it. So, what I'm looking at today is another How WWE Should Have Booked. The first video last week was a How WWE Should Have Booked for Cesaro's WrestleMania 30 post-push. If you haven't watched that video yet, go watch it. Check it out, leave a comment, subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. So, here is what we're doing today. Back in 2009, Kofi Kingston had a rocket ship up his derriere. He was going places. The kid was finally gonna be pushed to the top. He had a long feud with Randy Orton. Gave him the biggest moment of his career. And what happened? Well, here's what happened. He did a boom drop out of the sky. He jumped off the railing of a crowd, of a section, and put Orton through a table with a boom drop. He beat Orton once, and he lost to Orton at TLC, and then lost in the Elimination Chamber, and then lost the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 26. Not a great push, as I see it. So, here's how I do it differently. For the start of it, a feud with Randy Orton. I know that a lot of people aren't big on Randy Orton anymore, and I get it. He's kind of wearing a bit thin. His act is probably getting a bit stale for some, but the fact is, then, back in 2009, and probably still now, Orton is a big name. And if you defeat Randy Orton, especially a couple times, and win a rivalry with Randy Orton, it's a great launching pad, because that is a big name. So it's a great start. Kofi Kingston gets a win, Orton gets a win. That sets up for a third match, obviously, the third match at TLC. That is where we start changing things. And it's not a huge change. It should be more of an obvious change. Kofi Kingston wins. Kofi Kingston beats Orton. And that gives Kofi some credibility. Some real credibility that he picked up the win. That he proved he can hang and defeat Randy Orton. And it wasn't just a one-time fluke. That is what that win does. So now that you have Kofi, he has gotten wins over Randy Orton. He's gotten at least 2 victories over Randy Orton in pay-per-views. January 4th, the January 4th edition of Raw, after tables, ladders, and chairs, instead of a United States title match, Kofi Kingston randomly had an inter-U.S. title match. We don't have that. Instead, earlier in the night, we saw John Cena against Randy Orton. I know that match happened like a bazillion times around 2009. Just stick with me. John Cena versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton wins after a distraction by the then WWE champion Sheamus. Sheamus distracts Cena. Randy Orton picks up the roll-up victory and gets the win. So, later in the night, Sheamus is scheduled to have a match with Kofi Kingston. That's what we do. No U.S. title match. Instead, it's Kingston versus the WWE champion. During the match, Cena comes out, gets his retribution on that dastardly Sheamus shenanigans. He distracts Sheamus, and Kofi picks up the roll-up victory on Sheamus. Kofi now has pinfalls on Randy Orton and the then WWE Champion. So, we're going to give him some actual legitimacy. We're going to give him some credibility. The next week, as would actually happen, there's a triple threat match after a long-winded promo. There's a triple threat match to determine the number one contender to the WWE title at the Royal Rumble. You have John Cena, because he's Superman. You have Randy Orton, because he's the Viper, and he beat Superman last week. And you have Kofi Kingston. Now, in real life, I hate saying real life, but what actually happened was Orton won the triple threat, and he fought Sheamus. And Cody Rhodes got involved and cost Orton the match, accidentally. So what we do, we're going to keep that. Orton's going to win this. Orton wins, he gets the title shot at the Royal Rumble, and you can keep the interference, and that sets up the Legacy Triple Threat at WrestleMania 26. That's fine. But here's what we do. Orton pins Cena, not Kofi. Rhodes and DiBiase run in. They beat up Kofi and Cena, and Orton pins Cena, not Kofi. So, the next week, Kofi and John come out, and they are not happy that Legacy costs them their opportunity at the WWE title. So they decide, we are going to join forces, and we are going to take out Legacy at the Rumble. So, the Rumble, you have the Rumble match with Edge's great return. You have Undertaker and Rey Mysterio. That still happens. That was a pretty good match, I thought. You have the Randy Orton versus Sheamus thing with the Rhodes thing and the DiBiase thing and all that things. And you have a tag match. John Cena and Kofi Kingston against Rhodes and DiBiase. Kingston picks up the pinfall victory over Rhodes or DiBiase. Doesn't really matter which one. Then, as would actually happen, Kofi defeats The Big Show the night after the Rumble, and he goes on to the Elimination Chamber match with Cena. Let me just look here. Cena, Orton, Triple H, Sheamus, and DiBiase. We're going to keep all those same guys in the match. We're going to keep them. Here's what we do. Kofi eliminates Triple H. It might be a stretch. Just go with me. We're going to give Kofi another big pinfall victory. He now has victories over Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Triple H. So Kofi eliminates Triple H from the Elimination Chamber. Randy Orton eliminates Kofi after a shot with a lead pipe that Cody Rhodes threw in the chamber. After that, Ted DiBiase can hit Orton like he did with the pipe and eliminate Randy Orton. You have Sheamus eliminate DiBiase, and you have Cena defeat Sheamus to become the WWE Champion. That way, you can still do Batista's impromptu title shot, and that can still lead to Batista v. Cena at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, if that's really what's making you wet. So, here's where we go from there. Kofi is not WWE Champion. Kofi is not going to be in the title match at WrestleMania. So where am I going with this? Well, I don't like changing things so drastically if I rebook them. I don't want to do something and just completely change everything or add in something that may or may not be able to happen. I like taking what WWE did and making the minor tweaks necessary to make it a good or great storyline. So here's what we do. Instead of Kofi going to WrestleMania with the WWE Championship and you having a grand WrestleMania moment that way, what we're going to do is we're going to keep things fairly the same. Kofi, going into this WrestleMania now, WrestleMania 26, he now has pinfall victories on Triple H, Sheamus, and Randy Orton, and has a tag team with John Cena and defeated Legacy. That's a pretty good resume in a couple of months. That's a pretty good way to build yourself as a contender, I think. Triple H, Sheamus, who was the WWE champion at the time when he pinned him, and Randy Orton. I think a very fair resume for a couple of months, very fair list of accomplishments. So you go into WrestleMania and you keep Kofi in the Money in the Bank ladder match. However, it isn't won by Jack Swagger. No. You have Drew McIntyre, Shelton Benjamin, and Kofi Kingston in the ladder match, and you give it to Jack Swagger. Why? Anyway, Kofi wins the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 26. Kofi wins. Now, a lot of people don't like fast cash-ins. A lot of people there were a lot of people who did like Ambrose's at Money in the Bank. I know there were a lot of people who didn't, just because it was a fast cash-in. I know there were a lot of people who criticized Jack Swagger for cashing in too soon, just a couple days before. Well, then you might hate me, but I think it makes for a better storyline. I'm sorry. I think it makes for that one, since they were going to introduce the Money in the Bank pay-per-view that in just a couple months, they needed to be a quick cash-in. However, doing it a couple days later didn't feel special. It didn't really make a lot of sense. So I'll agree with you there. So we do it at WrestleMania 26. Chris Jericho just defeated Edge. Edge speared him through the barricade. His rib might be broken, but he was the dirty heel, and Jericho defeats Edge. He's lying on the mat. His ribs are broken, and out comes Kofi Kingston with his newly won Money in the Bank briefcase. He cashes in. He hits Trouble in Paradise. He beats Chris Jericho 1, 2, 3. I nearly flipped off the camera. I think I did flip off the camera. Please don't screenshot that. I don't want to get terminated from everything. I'm already nervous about that. I'm not trying to, use that as a promotional tool. Just for any companies, MLB, Toronto Blue Jays. Sorry. Anyway. So, Kofi Kingston, WrestleMania 26, cashes in Money in the Bank, and becomes the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. You create a WrestleMania moment with Kofi Kingston and the Money in the Bank briefcase. I get it's a fast cash-in, but in this situation, I think it works. Kofi Kingston had a great build-up to WrestleMania. He had pinfall victories over Triple H, Randy Orton, and Sheamus. He wins Money in the Bank. He becomes the World Champion. And he goes to SmackDown, joining Big Show, Kane, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, Jericho, Edge in the world title picture. That is how I would have booked it. Now, in a later How WWE Should Have Booked, I will probably revisit this and explain a bit more. But that is basically how I would have booked Kofi Kingston's 2009 to 2010 push, I think. That's how I would have booked it. Do you disagree? Tell me about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Follow on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that. And I will see you guys next week for our next video. Thanks for watching.